Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a very early look at the month of December. We're going to look at the entire thing and take a look at what we think the pattern could look like. Anyways, before we get into things, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, how do you think this December is going to go? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's just get straight into this video, and we're going to be taking a look at 5-day increments here on our CFS daily model, and then we're going to be taking a look at 7-day increments on our European weekly model as well. So we're going to be taking a look at two different opinions. They're a little bit different, but a little bit the same as well. Now, here's the first, well, this is actually this week, the 22nd through the 27th of November. Just wanted to take a look at how this month's going to end. I think it's super interesting. We're going to be in a very cold pattern here in the east to end the month of November. Negative AO, positive PNA, negative NAO. All you need to know is those three things point towards very cold in the east, and it's almost a sure thing that we're going to close out November on a cold note here for majority of the eastern United States. Now, as we take a look at the 5 to 10 day period here, this is going to be November 27th through Thursday, December 2nd. I can't believe we're that close to December, but we really, really are at this point. You can see the cold is still centered over the east and the warmth is still centered out west, which again is just super interesting to see us locked in this pattern. This does eventually, finally, come to an end. We've been wondering when this would be coming to an end, and it looks likely that for the first week of December, it will be coming to an end. December 2nd through December 7th, you can see that we do have warmer than normal conditions centered over most of the eastern 2/3 of the country, outside of the East Coast, which is probably around normal by this point. We can see the west is also below normal. That is a negative PNA setting in, which encourages warmer air out west, out east. So that is what is causing all of these big changes to occur. Now let's take a look at days 15 through 20, which is going to be December 7th through December 12th. And you can see the cold returns for the east. We do have a bit of cold in the west as well, but mostly the east here is getting a lot of that cold from the Ohio Valley in through the East Coast. So we are seeing that cold pattern completely return here for the east around that time frame. Now, by time we're moving on to around the 12th through the 17th here of December, you can see things are overwhelmingly cold from west to east here. This is a pretty rare pattern, and I'd be curious to see which coast this would really side on. Usually you don't see cold on both sides of the United States, so there isn't really a driving force behind this pattern, which is really interesting. But we can see cold again for the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, the Great Lakes as well, and then also the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic also during this time frame, but also for the Southwest, the Northwest, the Rockies. So there isn't really any warm regions except for the Southeast there, North Carolina and Virginia, as well as Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, also in a little bit of warmth here on this time period, the time period before Christmas. We also see the 17th through the 22nd here. This is predominantly cold in the east as well. This one you can definitely tell is siding with colder in the east. So at least this one we can see a definitive pattern here. Cold in the east, slightly cold in the west, but there is some warmth out there in the west, which gives me confidence that this is at least a realistic pattern for sure. Although we do have cold along the west coast, which usually encourages warmer air to the east. This isn't unheard of for a pattern like this to set in. But again, a pretty odd look here coming from the CFS model. You can see that the coldest of the air in the United States is centered over the eastern seaboard from South Carolina all the way up through Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic, and even in through New England as well, with those greens, which are about 10 to 15 degrees below normal, which on a 5-day period, that is actually a very, very significant departure from what is typical. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the 22nd through the 27th, and this one looks predominantly cold in the west, although there is still some cold in the east as well, especially the upper Midwest and the Northeast there, but we do see a lot of warmth there for the south central United States in through the southeast. You can tell that a lot of these frames we've taken a look at, the southeast ridge is very, very there. It's very involved in our pattern, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it is the case at this point. So we're going to need to be watching closely at that. But for the 27th of December through the 1st of January, so this is the very closing out period of December, you can see we get a very cold pattern back in the east for all the way from Florida up through Maine, west all the way to the west coast. I don't even think there's a warm area at this point, but a lot of this cold is centered over the east. We do see a bit of it for the west as well, but I think mostly the east is receiving the cold at this point, according to this CFS model. So a very, very cold outlook here coming from the CFS. And even as we move towards the 1st through the 6th of January, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a bonus. That cold really, really sets in for the east. And throughout my weather years, so basically since I was 10 and have been paying attention, so about 2010 or so, uh, a lot of times the first week of January tends to be the coldest and snowiest. I don't know why that time period specifically is one that I've always watched for, but 1st through the 7th, maybe even 1st through the 10th especially, tends to just be some of those bigger cool downs and bigger snowstorms from my experience. It might just be an anomaly where it's just, happens for some reason it doesn't really make sense, or it's just because it's really just the peak time frame of the winter right there in the beginning of January. I tend to side with that. Now let's take a quick look at our European weeklies model as well. So this is going to be November 30th through December 7th. So we're not messing around with November on this one. We're really just getting straight into December. This one is a lot more marginal with everything. You can see a lot of warmth out west, but it does have that marginal cold in the east, which is interesting because this is the time frame where the CFS model had warmth in the east, cold in the west. Things get a bit colder as we head towards the 7th through the 14th, though. You can see a lot of cold up there for the upper Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Southeast. Again, just a lot more realistic on this model, in my opinion. It is the European model, obviously, so we tend to look at that as one of, if not the best models in the world. We do see a bit of cold up there for the Northwest and the Northern Rockies as well, but especially, again, the upper Midwest and then the eastern United States as a whole there, I would say especially is where the cold is centered. Now, the 14th through the 21st, you can see a lot of that cold is still centered in the east, some of it centered in the west, but we have a lot of warmth in the central United States, especially there. And then the 21st through the 28th of December here, we can see a lot of cold in the west, some cold in the east, a lot of warmth in the central United States again. And then same story here for the 1st through the 2nd of January. So this is the very end of the model run, but we see some cold centered over the east, some cold centered over the west, but I would say especially over the west at this point, and then some warmth in the central United States. So we do have some pieces to the puzzle, I would say, of what December is going to look like, but I am really waiting for the 1st of December to release my official December forecast, where we will have the most accurate information out and available. For today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6, kind of that moderate confidence. I feel like I feel good about these pieces of the puzzle we're getting, but we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, if that makes sense. We're skipping the comment of the day because I didn't really get one that I felt like betrayed my opinion on the comment I asked yesterday. But for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lily Pan, Mandy Birchfield, and Patrick Strickland as well. I'd also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalasa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Alan Goodmaven, Bill Dallas, Gary, John Khaleesi, Dwight Phelan, Stephen Crenenthal, and Thomas D. Barr as well. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox also. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.